Y'all see Gene, I'm telling y'all, man, somebody better punch him in the face. Somebody better do something to him, man. He out here doing this, that, and we be like, all right.
Thank you, Roger Bonds, for putting it out there. It came to life for y'all. It came to life for y'all that this dude wanted me dead way before I came to YouTube. What he look like telling somebody to whoop my... He didn't tell him that. He wanted me in the dirt and was trying to rock me to sleep.
It started with whispers, quiet, uneasy conversations happening behind closed doors, the kind of talk that people don't usually say out loud. But now, those whispers are getting louder, and at the center of it all is a man who once stood on the inside of one of the most powerful empires in hip-hop. Gene Deal is no stranger to pressure. He's seen things most people could never imagine. He stood beside fame, power, and influence during its peak. But today, he's not talking about success or glory. He's talking about fear, real fear, the kind that keeps you looking over your shoulder, the kind that makes you question who you can trust. Because according to Gene, this isn't just about telling old stories anymore. This has turned into something deeper, something darker. And what nobody expected was that speaking his truth could come with consequences he never saw coming.
Seeing this a lot online. How you feel about the people that say that you should be worried if Diddy get off?
What needs something to say, bro. I'm not gonna worry about somebody that I bodyguard. I'm not gonna worry about somebody that I bodyguard. And God knows I can bodyguard myself with his blessings. I can bodyguard myself with his blessings, bro. I'm not worried about that. Nothing beats an ambush, and I know that. But I'm not worried about his shit. People just need to talk about something. They want to have something to say, man. Oh, Gene got to be worried, so like that. So, shouldn't I have been worried when he was out here on the street? When he was out here on the street, I should have been worried. Yo, bro, August the 14th, 1999, high-speed chase in Harlem. You understand? I didn't know that he didn't send nobody after me then. Because niggas do that shit. They'll send somebody at you. I've seen dudes that do shit and they have niggas right there in the same clique and they didn't even know he did it. So how I know those 4 guys, 5 guns to my head wasn't sitting by him. When Roger Bonds come and say later that Diddy wanted something done to Gene Deal. How I know? That shit made the news.
And now, the question isn't just what happened back then, it's what's happening right now. Because if Gene Deal is right, then this isn't just a story about the past, it's a warning. To understand how things got this intense, you have to go back to the beginning, back to the era when Sean Diddy Combs, known to many simply as Diddy, was building one of the most dominant forces in music history. This wasn't just a label, it was a movement. Bad Boy Records wasn't just producing hits, it was shaping culture. Names like the notorious B.I.G. and Mace weren't just artists, they were icons. Their music was everywhere, clubs, radios, streets.
So let me ask you a question. How long before you started working with him did you start to see like red flags and did you know like, damn, this is kind of crazy? Was it like immediate or was it like he gained your trust and you started vibing and you started seeing shit? Or was it like off the rip you knew like, hey, something up with it?
And behind the scenes, there was a machine making it all happen. And within that machine was Gene Deal. He wasn't in the spotlight, he wasn't on stage, but he was always there, watching, listening, protecting. As a bodyguard, he had access to moments most people never saw: the late nights, the private meetings, the tension behind the smiles.
And listen here, I want to let this young lady know, and I know this is not the place for it, brother, but please allow me to say this to her, man. You know what I'm saying? I started this battle long time ago. And the situation is that, bruh, we already won. This was some spiritual that Pop, the spirit of Pop, the spirit of Big, the spirit of Miss Jones, the spirit of Wolf, all the people that he has done wrong, you know, so Black, all the people that he has done wrong, bruh, is coming to light. We already won this spiritual. What we going through right now with these trials and everybody, you know, with this financial situation and everything like that, all that is superficial. That's the physical part of it. The spiritual part of it was won because Big, Pac, Wolf Mother, all the people that he did wrong, bruh, you understand? They already won the battle where we were supposed to win it at. So now we just going through the physical part of it, man. And I want that girl to know, man, that she ain't gotta fear no man. She ain't gotta fear him, nobody else, man. Whenever she needs, you understand? Whenever she needs somebody to travel, to go with her, to make sure she all right, you know, I'm a phone call away, man. I'm a phone call away. And you know, go ahead with your questioning, man. I just had to get that out, man, because that girl touched a lot of people, man, because all she wanted to do was write music, make music, and show her talent and her love to the people, man. And then she got to feel this way, be fearful and scared of her life and stuff like that. Mom, I ain't scared of no man. You understand? I ain't scared of no man. Nobody that got to put their pants on the same way I do. Not at all.
And for the people that don't know who Tiffany Red is, that's Cassie's best friend.
That's one of Cassie's friends. She was writing a lot of music, and she said that she was writing music for her friends to get. Oh my God, man, come on.
Gene wasn't just guarding a celebrity, he was guarding power. But over time, something changed. Because when you're that close to influence, you start to notice things. You start to see patterns. You begin to understand that not everything is as glamorous as it looks on the outside. And eventually, Gene walked away. For years, he stayed relatively quiet. Like many insiders, he kept his experiences to himself. Maybe out of loyalty, maybe out of fear, or maybe because he knew just how dangerous it could be to speak up.
Man, you know, leopard don't change his spots, and Diddy been doing this real long time, bro. He been doing this for a long time. And now another artist, this artist didn't wait 10 years. You know what I'm saying? He didn't wait 20 years. You understand? He waited a year or two after he stopped working with him and saw he didn't get what he was supposed to get. And he said, yo, listen here, man. I'm putting in my claims right now because I'm going to show everybody what really happened, what really went down. It's crazy. When I was reading it, I read the whole thing. Shout out to Keisha in Kansas City. She sent me the whole documentation, bro. And you know, the whole court thing. And when I'm reading the stuff, you know, it sound from a lot of it sound familiar. You understand? And what I mean sound familiar, how he would get other girls and get girls to try to, you know, convince this guy, you know, or put him in a situation with other girls so he could do whatever he wanted to do with them. And it's just like the situation somewhat with Sarah and her girlfriend and him and Ja. You know what I'm saying? Bringing girls on to try to convince this other guy to be in a room with another naked man and all this other bull. Yo, it all sound familiar, man. I read the whole thing, man, and it was crazy.
And for the people that don't know what you're talking about, because the lawsuit is new, so, you know, some people still catching up with it. Little Rod, he alleges that, you know, Young Miami cousin tried to have in front of Diddy.
Yeah, he went into the bathroom, and then she came into the bathroom and tried to throw herself on him. He didn't want to have nothing to do with her for whatever reason. And then when he came out the bathroom, she continued to try to do that and try to have, wanted him to have on a Diddy and the rest of the people that was in there. That's how they do, man. They try to use a girl that you might like or you may think you might like, or they think you might like her or whatever, to convince you to lay down your guards with them. And he didn't.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. And you're not surprised by none of this, because you said that Ja Rule, they did this to him, right?
No, remember, and people got it confused when I said that Ja and him was in the room with two girls, with Sarah and Sarah's girlfriend. You understand? He was trying to get Ja to go at Jay-Z. So what he did was try to get another girl, you understand, to do something with Ja. I guess, I don't know, they in the room together. So when they, in that thing, I know what he was planning on doing because I heard the conversation.
But then he started talking. At first, it was small. Interviews, podcasts, stories that gave people a glimpse into what life was really like behind the scenes of Bad Boy. And people listened because this wasn't coming from an outsider. This was coming from someone who lived it. And the more he spoke, the more attention he got. But here's where things take a turn, because according to Gene, the attention didn't just bring curiosity, it brought pressure. And then came the claims that changed everything. Enter Roger Bonds, another insider, another man who had been part of that same world. But unlike many others, Roger didn't stay silent either. When he stepped forward, people paid attention, not because of rumors, but because of his position. From 2003 to 2012, he was deeply embedded in Diddy's circle. He wasn't guessing, he was speaking from experience.
It's getting worse, you getting older. So as you getting older, you getting wiser. And you understand, okay, this stop. You know what I'm saying? None of this stop, because there's nobody there to stop it, and this person is becoming stronger and stronger and stronger. So if you becoming stronger and stronger and stronger, what's there to make you stop? You know what I'm saying? Like what I feel like what he's going through now, that's enough to make you stop. You know what I'm saying? But if you ain't never went through this and everything you going through gets swept under the rug, it ain't no reason for you to stop. Bonds ain't gonna make me stop. Bonds is just another security dude. Now I see that. You know what I'm saying? But when you live in it and you going through it, that person knows how to make you feel like, yo, you ain't gonna never gotta worry about nothing, because this is what they telling you, this is what you seeing. So each and every day, I'm not gonna lie, you hope that that person wakes up the next morning and a red light went off in their head. Say, yo, I gotta treat better. Or I gotta treat a person better. Or I gotta do this. So that's what you hoping. And then you get to the point where you say, yo, nah, make a change. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So one of the main things that happened was I got diabetes. Right? I was in Spain somewhere. And I kept going to the bathroom like every 10 or 15 minutes. And I'm like, keep going to the bathroom for? Somebody said, yo, you know, if you go to the bathroom a lot, you get diabetes. Because you got to remember, we was traveling and moving so much, there was places that we would be at that you wouldn't even drink the water. You know what I'm saying? Or they say, yo, if you from the United States, the water gonna make you sick.
Hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I've been to Mexico a few times and got sick as hell off that water.
Oh, for the water.
Yeah.
So you end up drinking sodas and juices all day long. So that's one of the things that happened. So I looked at it as like, that was like one of the ways that God got me out my situation.
And what he said raised serious questions. According to Roger Bonds, there were moments in the past where he was allegedly instructed to confront people who had spoken out. Not just arguments, not just disagreements, but situations that could have turned physical. And here's the part that made everything feel heavier. He claimed that Sean Diddy Combs had given those orders directly. Now think about that. If someone who was once responsible for security is saying things like this, it shifts the entire narrative. It turns what might have sounded like drama into something far more serious. Because suddenly, Gene Deal's fears don't sound so far-fetched anymore. They start to sound possible. And Gene, he didn't brush it off. Instead, he leaned into it. In recent interviews, Gene admitted something that caught a lot of people off guard. He said he's scared. Not in a dramatic way, not for attention, but genuinely concerned for his safety. He talked about feeling like he needs protection, about constantly being aware of his surroundings, about not knowing who might be watching or waiting. And for someone who used to be the protector, that's a powerful shift, because now he feels like the one who needs protecting.
Drinking and start popping and passing it to dudes around them. I left from the area and got my own table. You not rocking me to sleep. You never rocked me to sleep. Though I worked for you, you wasn't doing no dirt. That's why my days was with you when you had your kids. Because you knew you couldn't do that dirty to me. And that's a good judgment on your behalf. Roger Barnes got on that show and said, yo, we seen Gene plenty of times. But we knew Puff was a and we had to live in Harlem. That's because we know the same people. When Roger Barnes talk to people about me, they gonna say Gene a stand-up dude. Gene was all right, bro.
But here's the twist. Gene believes it's not just talk. He claims there have already been situations that felt off, moments that didn't sit right. One incident in particular stands out. Gene described a confrontation outside a courthouse. According to him, a man believed to be a YouTuber kept following him, provoking him, pushing him again and again. At first, it might sound like a random encounter, just another heated moment in a public space. But from Gene's perspective, it wasn't random at all. He believes it was intentional, a setup, a way to test him, to provoke a reaction, maybe even to discredit him.
Because I was starting to get sick in the situation. Like, I was starting to wake up in the morning, damn, B, I'm still here. Even though I'm in an exotic country, or I'm in an exotic place, I'm like, damn, I'm still here, because the energy was off. You know what I'm saying? Everything that was going on around you was off. And you were expected just to stand there and do what you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what's acquired of you. You know what I mean? So, you know, that was one of the things that made me say, okay, it's time to go. So I used my sickness as one of the reasons, like, yo, you know, I can't be traveling with you, and you know I can't be doing this, that, and the other. The doctor said I need to be in a stable place. I need to get a certain amount of sleep. I need a certain type of food.
To pull away.
I was trying to pull away. You know what I'm saying? So what I did was I found that they had an opening in Ciroc.
But the situation escalated quickly. Words were exchanged, tension built, and eventually Gene says it turned physical. But even after it was over, the feeling didn't go away. That sense that something bigger was happening behind the scenes. And whether that's true or not, the fear he's expressing is real. Because when you start to feel like you're being targeted, everything changes. Every interaction feels suspicious. Every stranger feels like a potential threat. And every step you take feels like it matters more than ever. But what makes this story even more intense is the timing, because all of this is happening while Sean Diddy Combs is facing increasing public scrutiny. The spotlight is already on, the pressure is already building, and now former insiders are stepping forward with claims that only add fuel to the fire. Each interview, each statement, each viral clip, it all builds a narrative that feels unfinished, like we're only seeing part of the story. And Gene Deal? He's right in the middle of it, speaking louder than ever, but also feeling more exposed than ever. And that's the emotional weight of all this. Because beyond the headlines, beyond the drama, there's a human being dealing with real fear. A man who once stood at the center of power, now questioning his own safety. Think about that for a second. How do you go from protecting one of the most powerful figures in the industry to feeling like you might need protection from that same world. That kind of shift doesn't happen overnight. It comes from experience, from what you've seen, from what you believe is possible.
If you do something to Gene, you're gonna have to deal with Chaz, you're gonna have to deal with Slick, you're gonna have to deal with Taze people, you're gonna have to deal with a whole lot of people that love that name. And that's the politics of Harlem. Roger Bonds know the politics of Harlem. So you have a homo cats out there right now that's talking all that shit. Gene paid his dues. Because I came here and talked about the character of this dude who wanted me dead. I been knew that. He ain't saying nothing I didn't know. Y'all can find somebody else to play with. That goes to show you what kind of dude this is. Instead of coming to the table to save Big and Tupac, he said, it. This is kind of character that y'all out here saying, that y'all standing up for. People are still alive. Eric B, Big D, Suge Knight. They was gonna squash this East Coast, West Coast before Pop, before Big was dead. He wouldn't even send a representative to the table. Not a table that he ate off of. The table that he got his millions from is having his ass for dessert. No.
And whether people believe Gene or not, you can't ignore the emotion behind his words. There's frustration, there's tension, and there's a sense that he's been holding on to these feelings for a long time. But now he's letting them out. And maybe that's why his story is connecting with so many people. Because it doesn't feel scripted. It feels real, raw, unfiltered, like someone finally saying what they've been afraid to say for years. But at the same time, that honesty comes with a price. Because the louder you speak, the more attention you attract. And not all attention is good. Some of it can be dangerous. Some of it can put you in situations you never expected. And right now, Gene Deal is walking that line between truth and risk, between exposure and protection. And no one really knows where it ends. But maybe that's the biggest question of all. How many other people are watching this unfold and choosing to stay silent? How many stories are still hidden because the fear of speaking out feels too real? Because if Gene Deal's experience tells us anything, it's that sometimes the truth doesn't just set you free. Sometimes it puts you in the spotlight, and not everyone survives that.
So, as this story continues to unfold, one thing is clear. This isn't over, not even close. And the deeper it goes, the more complicated it becomes. Because when power, loyalty, and fear collide, the truth doesn't just come out quietly, it shakes everything. And maybe, just maybe, this is only the beginning. And as this story continues to unfold, one thing is certain. The truth always finds its way to the surface, no matter how deeply it's buried. What started as whispers has now turned into a conversation the whole world is watching. But the real question is, who will speak next and what will they reveal? If you found this story intense and want more deep dives like this, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so you never miss an update, because this story is far from over.